there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun crafts for you today. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Today we'll be working on some DIY rustic Christmas home decor, so let's get started with project number 1. So this is a wood sled I picked up at a thrift store, I think last year for a couple of dollars. I've already taken the rope out. I was actually going to do this off camera because I'm like, well, this isn't anything exciting. I'm just going to decorate a sled. So I had previously painted it. It's all ready. And I thought, no, I'm going to film it because even though this is easy and you all could think of this, you'll at least have a free printable out of it, right? So I decided, let's film it up. So I'm starting with distressing it, with my electric sander outside. Look at my coat. It is so, I was doing a lot of sanding that day. My coat is covered in sanding dust, but that's all right. So I'm just distressing it up a little bit, like I said, getting it ready, and then we'll just start the easy decoration of it. Now for the top of the sled, I've got some really pretty Christmas paper on the right and just some cream cardstock on the left. And here is the free printable for you. You could use this at Christmas time. You could use it in winter like January, even though it says sleigh rides. It's still cute, whatever. But link to my blog will be in the description box with all the free printables today. I'm doing this in vinyl and I'm going to put it onto the cardstock. But if you don't have like electronic cutting machine, you could just print on to the cardstock. And you have this option for like project number 2 as well. You could do the same thing. Just take the free printable, print it onto some cardstock or some pretty paper, and then put it onto the project. Now, when you're on cardstock, I get a lot of questions at this. I've speeded it up just a little bit, but not much. But when it's on paper, I usually don't have much rippage because I just kind of remove the outer transfer piece at an angle and just slowly. And then, if I get a spot that rips well, I'm rusticking it up anyway. So I just make it look like it was intentional. But just diagonal and slowly, it should come off your paper just fine. So I'm using my Beacon Fabric Tack to glue it down, and right before I go to put it on the pretty Christmas paper, which I got a pad of this paper at Hobby Lobby, by the way, I'm like, oh, I wanted to, roughen the outer edges. So I've got the open end of my scissor blades and I'm scraping it along the edge. I do this actually, I just show a little bit now, but I do it actually pretty heavily. I do it a little bit more. And now I'm going to place it onto the paper and adjust my paper a little bit. It's just a little bit too tall at the top. And then I'm going to take my whole ensemble to the sewing machine, and I'm just sewing it like I'm sewing on regular fabric. We haven't done this in a while, right, guys? You haven't heard this this spiel in a while. And I actually have in my machine a size 14 needle, and it's working fine. I used to always use a 9 or 10 in my old machine, but this is a 14 in here because of, our last week's video. I had a size 14 needle and machine, so I just left it. So I'm just going around the outer edge of the printed and around the outer edge of the cardstock on top, and it just gives it a nice little something. I think it just adds to it. If you didn't want to actually sew on your paper, you could make little dash lines with a fine tip Sharpie marker or something like that would work wonderful. But I like the option of this. I think it just, takes it up a little bit, takes it up a nice level here. Once we go to this, we're going to go ahead and, you got it, roughen up the outer edge of the paper as well. This is optional. You don't have to do it. If you want a nice clean edge, of course, then leave it a nice clean edge. I'm kind of holding it funny because I started to glue this one as well like I did the other one. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to roughen the edges up. So I just kept forgetting. But anyway, we get the job done. Finish adding the glue, and then we'll place it down on the sled. And of course, Bella's joining us in the upper right. Well, at least her feet are. Boston and Bella will show up at some point here and there, little pieces of them, I guess. All right, once that's on, it still looks a little plain to me. So I'm going to come in with some black paint mixed with water to water it down, my fan brush, and I'm going to go ahead and add some splatters over the top, and that kind of grounds it all together a little bit. It's not just this paper sitting on top of a wood sled. By adding the dots over the paper and the wood sled, like I said, it just kind of makes it all cohesive and grounds it all together. I just show a little bit of splattering here, but I do splatter underneath and everything to make it all look together. And I'm just going to start adding some greenery here. This is greenery from Walmart. That was like $1.48, I think. It had different types of greenery on it. This is 98 cents. I love my kind of snowy greenery. Pulling out the hot glue gun. You all know I don't do that very often, but I thought it would be quicker for, the video here today. But just decorate it how you want at the top. Like I said earlier, this really isn't anything that you all couldn't think of, but I thought I'll go ahead and still do it because at least you get a free printable out of it, right? So just adding some of the beautiful snowy glittery, 98 cents. I mean, I couldn't believe that, and really nice quality. Look for it after Christmas sales at Walmart. You get it, of course, even cheaper. That's a lot of times when I'll go and get my greenery. Added some beaded berries there I get from Hobby Lobby, as well as this ribbon from Hobby Lobby. And I just did a real easy, just shoestring bow, doubling it, wrapping it around, doubling it. I twisted it with wire in the center so I could add a rusty bell easily enough and, twist the wire on the back to keep that bell in place. Worked easy. And then I've got these two kind of colored wood slices. These came on a pick at Joann's probably 3 or 4 years ago. I don't have any more, although I did order some plain tiny wood slices. I thought I could paint them up and make them look like these whenever I wanted to do that. But I haven't got them yet because you wanted to know that. So just adding my wood slices. I wanted to go with the red and green so it kind of matched the red and greens of the paper down below. A little bit of a rusty star here to kind of tie in with the rusty bell. And then we'll go ahead and glue the bow bell ensemble right there in the center. And then I wanted to just add a little something else. So I have these little wooden snowflakes. I think they come in a shadow box type box at Hobby Lobby, and you get like, I don't know how many designs in it, but there's probably at least 24 little snowflakes in there. I'm just doing a dry brush sort of over the front and back of these. I want a little bit of the wood to show so I don't have to sand them, but it looks rustic like the sled. And then I've got some really thin twine here I'm going to add to all of them. The twine is different lengths for each of the snowflakes. I'll get them in first. And then at the top, I'll go ahead and add another piece of twine and just tie the top all together so it's one unit. Here we go. Get them all together. But I don't want the twine to kind of be open like it is because I don't like that look. So once I get it tied off, I'm going to actually take some of my Fabri-Tac glue and kind of glue those opening twines closed, if that makes any sense. Let's get the top tied off first here. That way I've got something to help kind of glue it in with. See here, I'm kind of gluing that twine closed. I'm running the glue down the center of the twine so it closes that up. I thought that looked a little better than open string. I don't know. I didn't like that look. Adding glue to the center and just closing it up. One more to go, and then we'll get it glued in right underneath our bow there. Little hot glue action. I thought it just added a little something. Kind of matched the, snowflakes on the printable there. And then I'm going to kind of glue the snowflakes into place on the greenery in different positions. So it's intact and it's not going to move, but it looks like it just spilled there haphazardly, right? All right, perfect. Last little bit going on here once we get those glued in is I want to get my ribbon wrinkled and crinkled down. I don't want it to just hang down the center, so I'm kind of wrinkle, crinkle, and glue so it stays out of the way of our printable but looks nice and nice. Right side, then left side. Perfect. I like this ribbon. I haven't used it yet, but I kind of like it. And then I'm going to use some of this glitter dust. I'll have a link down below in my description box. I get it from Etsy. It's a really clear with fine glitter on it. So I'll glitter that all up. And then I need to add my rope back in, of course. It's a different rope. The other one was just a twine. This is actual like rope. Once I get that on there, that makes this project complete. Let's move on to project number 2. Now this project is a dupe, and I saw this online. I think it was Pinterest. It came, I don't know what store it is, it's at the end, but it came to $22, and I thought, well, let's make it. So I had this wood left over a couple of years ago, actually, that my husband cut for me to make pumpkins with. And so that's what we're going to use. You can use, any thickness that you want. Of course, they're about 6 inches long, about 3.5 inches wide, all the same size, where I know the original one is different sizes. But I'm going to use Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Rustic Red on one of them. I'm going to use Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Drop Cloth on the Wood Star. I got that like a set of 3 at a thrift store. And this is a paint I got clearance at local like Ace Hardware store, so it is a sage color. And then the other one I'll show you in a minute what it is. I think it's called Fluff. All right, so I'm going to start painting all the way around, of course, each one, front, back, sideways, front ways, back ways, tilt ways. You know the deal. I do 2 coats. Off camera, I will sand them and distress them so, they look a lot more rustic. But I had a lot of fun with this, more fun than I thought it was going to be. And I think I made it enough different that, sorry, I like mine a little bit better, but we'll see what y'all think. All right, on to the next one. Okay, so the paint, look at the paint. It looks all curdled, like it's messed up and old, but that's how the paint comes. They had a bunch of different colors. I bought a lot, and the gal, before I even open it, of course, she's like, it looks curdled and gross. She says, but it paints on totally smooth, and she was right. It paints on as if I was like painting a coat of water on there. It is so smooth and fluid and covers really well, but it looks like my paint is like disgustingly old and whatever, but I actually really like it. It works really well. I got like an off-white, a black, a brown, this green. I've been looking for a shade of green. Anyway, so Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color Fluff is what I'm using on this last one. It's mostly painted here. I like this one because it's white, but if you look at it, you kind of see that little hint of a gray tone to it. It's got like just a really nice soft undertone of gray. I didn't want like dark gray like it showed on the original. I just wanted really light and soft. So pleased with how this came out. And then again on the stars, I'm leaving the one side already white. I've already kind of distressed around the edges because I wanted to round them a little bit is all. And then of course I'll re-distress again. But what I like leaving the white on there is when I go to distress this drop cloth color, that white will show up under it and looks really nice. So here's what it looks like. That's actually the back of the star. Everything all distressed and ready to go. Now for this, I will have a free printable for you. One night, one star, one child. I'm going to use a big star, but I did create a different one with the star included if you don't want a separate star like I'm doing. So you have 2 options for the 1 star word. And I made these so they were on like 5x7 paper, I think, so you could make them bigger if you had bigger wood. I hope it works. I've not tried that before. I usually just give you guys one size to print out. But anyway, you could print these, if you don't have a vinyl cutter or anything, you could print these onto like cardstock and then pretty paper, something like that, and glue the paper to the front of your project. But if you do have like Cricut Design Space or something like that, you'll probably have to go in and clean it out because it's just a PDF, but it should be pretty easy to clean out. Hopefully. I don't know. I keep trying to make, PNGs on my iPad, and I've used so many different free downloadable program stuff. I just can't seem to make it. So there you go. You can make your own if you want, if you've got those design spaces. Now I'm just taking some wire. I don't know the gauge of this. I got it at a garage sale. It's kind of like electrical wire. It's got like a nice kind of black coating around it. And I'm just going to kind of make a, curly Q because I want the star to sit up above the 1 star piece of wood, but I want it to have at least a little bit of personality, and I didn't want to just glue the star directly to the wood. So I'm just curly Qing a little bit here. And then, making it as short or as long as I want it. Just a little bit. Nice and easy. All right, now I'm coming in with some black paint mixed with water, my little fan brush. I'm just I like to wipe off any excess and tap my fan brush first to see how the splatter's working because I can't stand those drip splatters. I like them at little dot splatters. So I always wipe off excess paint and try it out first before I start splattering. But you all know that's going to add a little something to it. And I am just showing the front here, but I splatter along the back, the top, the sides, everything, so that all looks cohesive. You'll really kind of see the splatter on this white one here, but it looks, I think it just adds a little something to it. All right, of course, I've got a drill and my drill bit that matches the diameter of the wire I'm using, drilling into the top of the wood near the left edge, and in, of course, the center of the star at the bottom portion of that star. And then I'm using this quick hold glue. It's like a E6, it is a E6000 quick hold, but it's kind of nice and runny, so I can actually, get it onto the needle and then take the needle and push the glue inside. Works really well. It takes about 10 minutes to set up so it's stable, and then 4 hours to actually set up. So, and now here you can see kind of like that drop cloth and that little bit of white around it where I distressed it. So that's why I went ahead and left the white paint underneath, so it gives it a little something here. And then of course I'll go ahead and add my wire to the bottom of the star and into the top of the wood, and I'll just turn my star just a little bit. I do shimmer it a little bit off camera with our little glitter mist. And then let's take a look at the comparison here. So mine of course is on the left, and my price came in at $2. The one on the right is by a company called Fun Express, coming in at $21.99. I had an out-of-pocket savings of $19.99. You'll have to tell me which one you like best. What do you think? Let's move on to our last project, number 3. For this project, we have another dupe. This one was from antiquefarmhouse.com. I thought we could remake it. I kind of like how mine turned out. A little bit more rustic, but I like it. You'll have to let me know what you think. So I bought from a local hardware store 4x4 wood here. And I'm going to have my husband cut it into 4-inch lengths. 4 of them. Okay. And then I need to drill a hole in the center. So he's got this drill press. It's got that cool drill on it with the, I don't know, somebody tell me what that's called. Somebody told me once before I used them and I can't remember. But you can do the same with the handheld drill, but the drill press makes it nice because it's going to make it nice and straight, just right down in the middle. He's doing that, and it just, uses that bit to drill down the depth that we want of the candle we're going to use. And you can make these as deep as you want depending on what type of candle you're going to use. I'm using little tea light battery operated ones from Dollar Tree. So probably about 1.5 inches thick. And I think we used 1.5 inches size on the drill bit. So here's what they look like. I've already kind of sanded them along the edges and stuff a little bit to give it more of a rounded look around there. But here comes Bella. But, we need to paint them up a little bit, and I am going to kind of do like the original. I'm using Waverly Antique Wax mixed with water to give it a nice little stain. Once they're all painted and, quote unquote stained, I'll distress them off camera to give them a lot more of a rustic look than the actual ones we're duping, because y'all know I like a lot more rustic looking. Get this one all finished up. Just going to do one for you so you can see I did it. But I think these turned out really good, and I like them. They're pretty. I really like the idea, so I hope you like it too. Perfect. Little rest for my voice. So for the Noel, theirs look like they were just painted on. You could cut them out of vinyl. You could use any type of wood letters that you want. I use my laser machine and cut out some wood letters, but stickers, rub-ons, paint them on by hand, write them with a paint pen, however you want it. So I originally was starting to use this fluff to paint the letters with, and I went ahead and did that on all of them. But I wasn't happy with the kind of, bumpy hand-painted look, so I take them outside off camera and I spray paint them. Now they're nice and smooth and beautiful, and it makes me feel better. Now I've got a couple of wood stars here. I get them from craftingwithkimber.com. I'll leave a link down below if you're interested, because these stars work great at July 4th too. Anyway, I'm doing 2 sizes here because at this point I'm not sure which size I will end up using, and I do a little stain on them first so that when I come in with my curdled looking off-white paint here that we all know paints up beautifully, because we already discussed this in the last project, once it's all dry and I go to distress it, that stain will kind of come up underneath and around the paint a little bit and look kind of nice. You can see it here. I just kind of like how that looks, and it goes in with our rustic look of our, candle holders down below. We'll call them candle holders. You can see these are all distressed up. I sanded them outside. And then here's my letters, all nice and smooth, but they look a little too perfect. So we're going to come in with some sandpaper here very gently. Very gently. I'm praying the whole time because some of those pieces that extend off, some parts of the letter are so thin and frail. I have to be very gentle, but I'm just really just doing around the edges just a little bit. It helps them kind of melt into the wood versus just sitting on top of it a little bit, I think, by sanding around the edges. Oh, I was like, please don't break, please don't break. And they didn't. And now I'm coming in with my Fabri-Tac glue and gluing them down. You could use a super glue if you have wood letters, whatever works for you. Got my ruler down there so I know exactly where to place my letters and get those glued down. Liking how this looks so far. Y'all, of course, will have to tell me which one you like better. We'll take a look at the comparison at the end, just like we did the last project. My ruler wasn't going to hold here. It kept wanting to fall off, so I grabbed the other block to put it underneath, hold it in place. I know I was kind of being smart there for a minute. 2 more letters to go. Okay, on to the last one, and yes, it's all out of order because I had to move the blocks around again to hold my ruler up. And then, of course, we're going to glue the smaller star right on that O. And then, of course, a little black paint mixed with water, keeping in with our theme today and doing a little splattering on all sides of our little candle holders here. And then these are the little tea light candles from Dollar Tree I'm going to be using. Now they have taller ones. You can use actual little tea light candles. You could use, I originally actually wanted to use the little, it's like a set of 4 from Dollar Tree, the clear glass holders, and then put candles in the middle, but I couldn't find those at our Dollar Tree, so there it is. So on these, that's why I went with these ones. They're too white. So I'm using the glitter dust to, of course, spray them up. It does actually help tone it down and easier to see in person, but I just spray the whole thing. And then, of course, all the candle holders, just a little bit on there because I want them more of a rustic look, but I want it to, coincide together. And, of course, once I do this, that makes this project complete. Let's take a look at the comparison. Coming in on the right side from Antique Farmhouse at a price of $31.50. Ours came in at a price, or mine, at $5 because I did have to buy the wood first, but it's still an out-of-pocket savings of $26.50. Let me know which one you like best. So I hope you like the last of the Christmas crafts for the year 2024. I came in with some rustic wood crafts for you, those of you that like the wood crafts, because you all know I like to do a little sewing. I like to do a little rustic. I'm coming in to finish off the year with the Christmas rustic wood crafts. Leave me a comment down below and let me know which one was your favorite. Please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. And if you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out, you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another project from me. Remember, I'll have a link to my blog in the description box where you can go find the free printables if you want to make some of these projects. Now, before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. In this life, you get to choose things that bring you happiness, things that challenge you, things that help you in certain times of life, like time spent with friends and family, going on adventures, and reading the Bible. You get to choose when and what you find joy in and how you act upon it. It's all in your power. So, for just a few moments right now, choose to set aside whatever is happening in your life and with intention, dwell on the birth of Jesus. Whatever situation you're in, allow your heart to celebrate His gift to you and His love for you. By choosing to focus on Jesus, it will change your thought pattern, making difficult situations seem dimmer, and it will allow your heart to be filled with joy. and inexpressible joy. Why? Because Jesus was born for you, and you serve and believe in a God who's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This inexpressible joy is a joy that cannot be explained. It's a joy that's unspeakable, indescribable, and defies human efforts to understand. It's a feeling that is so great that it cannot be described with words. Though you've not seen Jesus, this inexpressible joy comes from God, who lives within you because of the faith you have in your heart. In the Bible, the book of 1 Peter, chapter 1 and verse 8, it says, "Though you have not seen him, you love him. And even though you do not see him now, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy." In this moment, as you are focusing on Jesus, choose to let go and let God carry you. Rejoice in the name of Emmanuel. He has chosen to dwell within you because of his great love for you. No matter what is happening, God is with you. Rejoice because of the amazing things that God has done in your life and will continue to do. He cares for you. God has given his Son to you and to the world, so choose to celebrate this season. Choose to rejoice in the story of Christmas. It's a day of hope, a day of peace, a day of love for you, for your heart, for your life, and it's a very beautiful thing. In the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 13, it says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." And I say this in Jesus' name, amen. And I also say, Merry Christmas, my sweet friends, from my heart to yours. I love you greatly, and I appreciate you so, so much. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.